Hey, mahal everyone. Welcome back again to the Broadway Sand YouTube channel. I'm your host 40 and we are back with another video on the Alchemist Code. In today's video, we are going to be doing a discussion regarding the upcoming collaboration with Alchemist Code and Phantom of the Kill, and joining me today through the summoning method of alchemy is a special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself, bro.
Hey guys, SmoothJK here. Yeah, I'm really excited to do this kind of collab with 40, I guess. So, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited about these banners. I don't think I made that any kind of secret on my video, so pretty eager to talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. So it looks like they're throwing us three five-step summons, which is kind of crazy. I mean, there's three characters that we're going to be able to summon for. So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, we're looking at them right here, and that's pretty crazy that all three of these are going to be coming at us.
Yeah, well, my first question actually, or my first point of confusion is whether or not these are all coming at the same time, or are they going to space this out over like 3 weeks? Because I think, if I'm not wrong, the event is 3 weeks long, right?
Yeah, it's about 3 weeks long. It ends on February 7th, meaning that, I mean, it would make sense if they release these one at a time. So then it kind of gives the player, it kind of gives players at least who also have really spent quite a bit on this game, to take a look at their lineup and kind of decide, okay, do I really want to absolutely have to summon for, let's say, Leviathan, if the Leviathan 5-step comes out first, right? Or if they want to wait for the Shekinah and Sita, or if they just want to wait on the third week where all three of them are available, where I feel like, the rewards for that full 5-step is probably the best one, just because at the very end you get a 5-star unit selector. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I agree that the unit selector thing is pretty nice. I kind of hope that it's not spread out over 3 weeks, because the first week we're only going to have, I'm just going to call her L, hope you don't mind. But we're basically only having L on a rate up, which is going to be kind of boring in my opinion. I mean, she is pretty solid, and we'll talk about her in a little bit, obviously, but she's not like the most exciting unit. And if she's the only one on rate up that week, the entire week, then I think there's going to be a little bit of slow pulling. But if they drop all three at the same time, then that'll give people some options. It could be pretty exciting then. So, yeah, I mean, the step rewards are pretty nice. I don't know how hard people are going to wail on this banner, but it does give people options, and I don't think that people are properly estimating these units' strength right now. I think they're very much underestimating them.
Yeah, definitely. And just a little disclaimer, everybody. Smooth and I are gonna try not to mention too much, future JP stuff related to these characters, because there's already data on these characters, as far as how they're doing in JP currently. But seeing as, we want to look at the content that we currently have on Global and how these characters will perform, based on what they have in their toolkit with what we have in Global. I think it's more important that we look at it that way, just because, I mean, you agree with me, Smooth. Like, it kind of ruins the fun when you look too far ahead and you look at JP tier list and, and things like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, and I think, well, I will talk about it just a little bit, maybe at the end, because I think it's actually a piece of good news for people. But I think, yeah, I mean, looking forward like 20 months from now at some recent JP tier list doesn't make sense to me, because, I mean, if somebody is really strong now, or even for the next few months, but then they fall off a little bit 20 months from now, I mean, do you really care? So I don't think it's that relevant, but I also will mention it because I think people will be pleased. So
for sure. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the gear banners. So I think it looks like this is the one that I would definitely put a little bit more value over the units, these weapons. Just looking at I mean, if you look at the Mystic Blade for Tierfing, that's physical attack, dexterity, and luck up with a chance of days, and then it, since seeing as Tierfing is a farmable unit and she's free, it unlocks her master ability, which I think is pretty sweet. And I think this is the first time where they're actually doing a guaranteed featured gear on the step 3, because I don't remember them doing this for Vargas's weapon when Vargas's weapon was released.
They definitely did not do it for Vargas. I pulled all 3 steps. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty relieved that they're going to do this, because I guess spoiler alert, but Tierfing is going to be a very good unit into the future. So if there is anything that you want to pull hard for, I mean, this is a free unit after all, is her gear, because the gear is so good and the master ability is going to be very important. So this is the first time I think that the gear is actually more important than the characters themselves.
Right.
opinion. So, and I'm glad that it's guaranteed because again, I haven't had too much luck pulling the actual featured stuff. So this is a relief.
Yeah, definitely. And if you even look at the Masamune's blade, look at that HP up, physical attack up, agility up, a chance of agility up, and then it also unlocks her master ability. So I mean, I feel like both of these weapons are actually quite good for the melee DPS units that are able to use them.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want the turfing one, and the Mazmune one is tempting me badly as well.
Yeah.
I haven't actually looked into the master ability, so I don't know much about that, but I do know she's going to be a very good unit for a while. She's going to be like a super strong free unit. So, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely pulling on turfing. I can't guarantee that I won't pull on the second one either. So
right, yeah. So but yeah, definitely guys, these pieces of gear are definitely worth investing for if you have the extra gems to spare. They're going to be very usable even in the future, especially again like Smooth mentioned, Tierfing becomes incredibly good later on, and with her weapon, she just becomes an amazing unit. And I believe fellow YouTuber Ushi like kind of showcased that on his video, just how good she gets, later on with her piece of gear. So it's kind of something exciting to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know if it's like a JP buff kind of thing, but I think I recall her having like 2700 HP or something insane like that. I don't know if that's just like power creep, but yeah, either way, she looked rock solid, and I'm definitely going to be excited to use her.
Yeah, me too. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at the characters themselves from the gacha. So the first up we have is L. We're going to call her L because it's really hard to pronounce that name. But anyway, so L has access to 3 different jobs. J1 is Dark Knight, J2 is Ninja, J3 is Dark Cavalier. And then afterwards, she pretty much has double elemental coverage because she is a thunder unit with dark damage is from her J1 and J3. When she unlocks Ninja, she gains that elemental flexibility with the seals if you give her basic ninjutsu. So pretty cool, and I like how there's a little bit of range on that. She has access to Overlimit from J1 and Overdrive from J3. So she functions as a mobile hard hitter, especially if you give her Ninja and then you give her one of the passives from either Dark Knight or Dark Cavalier, she becomes a really, really mobile hard hitter. And seeing as she's kind of a rarity because she's the only Thunder unit that we're getting as a 5-star base that as a hard-hitting melee unit. Because I was taking a look at the lineup, for who's out right now, and the only one that stood out to me was Magnus and a little bit of Cars, but they're not like in your face, like I'm gonna smack you really hard, you know what I mean? And then out of the box though, I feel like she's somewhat lacking because Dark Knight by itself it's kind of squishy, especially because it really does need that overlimit, and I feel like she needs J2 at least to have better usability, but overall she's a solid unit with the current content in global. So what are your thoughts on L, Smooth?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. I think some people might nitpick and consider it somewhat of a disadvantage that she is a thunder and has dark element abilities because then you can't really double up on either one. Like you can't have a thunder element unit doing a thunder skill, or you can't have a dark element unit doing a dark skill for that extra damage. But I mean, all in all, I think it's a positive, and I agree with you that until she gets to J3, she's going to be kind of like solid, but not that much of a standout because, I mean, ninjas are a little bit squishy. I mean, for somebody who has to get in someone's face and get really close, ninjas don't really survive all that well, especially once you put on Overlimit, which lowers your defense as well. So it's a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit risky with her, but once she gets that job 3, and I have experience with this with my Balt, once you get them enough attack, like their defense kind of doesn't matter anymore. I mean, they're just able to nuke things so hard and quickly that it won't really matter that they have to stand in there and take a bunch of hits or anything like that. So she's going to be okay. She's the one that I'm least excited about on this whole banner, but I don't think her power should be underrated. I mean, like you said, there's not any real good Thunder melee units right now. I mean, the closest thing that I can think of is Retzius, and he's a free unit, and he's not particularly like amazing. So she's going to be pretty unique for a while, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there is Magnus as a ninja, and I'm trying him out, but I mean, it wouldn't compare it to L because I mean, Magnus really shines with his machinist class, and unless you want to try something different.
He wouldn't really have any like attack buffs like Overlimit or something like that either. So his damage is going to be somewhat limited. I mean, I do like that build; it's fun, but yeah, as far as getting in someone's face and just like one-shotting them, I mean, Magnus can't do it. Nobody can really do it right now who's a Thunder unit.
Right, yeah. But yeah, overall, Ella's a solid unit. If you guys pull her, kudos to you guys. She's unique on her own, again, as being, one of the only few hard-hitting Thunder units that gets in your face. So, anyways, we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next gacha unit, which is Shekinah, our fire killer princess. So Shekinah has access to J1 Ranger, J2 Hunter, J3 Holy Brawler. She is the first 5-star based ranged fire unit and first fire Holy Brawler. So great pluses there already. She has access to Sharpening Focus from J3 Holy Brawler. She gets Sharpening Focus plus Arrow Rain, and that's like massive AoE damage. That's like GG, if you use it on a bunch of enemies that are grouped up. She can function either as a ranged DPS or melee DPS. I feel like she's the most beginner-friendly of the 3 collab units, and out of the box, she has access to a very powerful range job in Ranger. So when she gets J2, she gets slightly better, because Hunter essentially is a downgrade from Ranger, but she becomes an absolute monster, I feel, with Job 3 unlocked. So overall, I feel like Shekinah is an amazing unit with the current content in global. What are your thoughts on Shekinah, Smooth?
Yeah, again, I agree with you. I think that as a Holy Brawler, as a Fire Holy Brawler, she's very unique.
Mm-hmm.
She'll be able to take all those pesky Yomis and Lucians and Arena and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Her jobs don't synergize quite as well as far as Holy Brawlers go, because, Ranger and Hunter don't really contribute too much for the Holy Brawler damage and tankiness.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's cool about her, and this is probably how I would use her, because I don't plan on wailing too much on these banners,
mm-hmm.
is that, if you get job 1 as a Ranger, she's already useful out the box, like you said,
mm-hmm.
Very much like a Ryle. Even her leader skill is very much like Ryle. But I think with J2 as the Hunter job, what's cool about that is that you get the extra +1 range passive.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to, you could double up on the +2 and the +1 and get like a ton of range on her, which is pretty unique as well. And then, there's a couple of skills that have an additional range, so she could just have massive range as a fire unit, which again is unique, because fire units tend to be more like, in your face.
Right.
So I'm pretty excited about her. I wish she had her own banner, but
yeah,
unfortunately, I mean, Gumi probably knows what people are going to want and what they're going to like, so they doubled up with the next unit that we're going to talk about. But definitely the most noob friendly, because she is useful right out of the box, and she only gets better when you unlock the other jobs.
Right. And I think design-wise, out of the 3, I think I like hers the best. She has the most waifu look out of all 3. That's just me, though. What do you think? Yeah. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our third and last unit here, which is, I believe it's pronounced Sita or Cheetah. So she gets access to J1 Axe Warrior, which is actually new for us global players. And then J2, she gets Martial Artist. And J3 is Pirate. So again, first unit in global to have access to a brand new job, which is Axe Warrior. Axe Warriors are hard-hitting melee DPS. So essentially, they like power themselves up, and then they smack you really hard. She gets access to Charge Up, which we're all familiar with from J2 Martial Artist, which ups your attack by 2.5 for 1 turn. And then as an Axe Warrior, that just complements her further, because she can charge up and then just hit you with a hard-hitting skill, from the Axe Warrior toolkit. I believe out of the box, she's decent. Looking at Axe Warrior from the Alchemist Code DB, it's hard-hitting, but its mobility is kind of bad. It's similar to Holy Knight, which is a move of 3 and a jump of 1, and then her agility is just subpar. It's not bad, but it's not good. And I feel she needs at least J2 to be better, so she has that charge up. And overall, again, she is a solid unit with the current content in global. So what are your thoughts on Sita or Cheetah, Smooth?
Yeah, I don't know if Japan pronounces it like Sheeta. It was like translated at least with the SH, but yeah, I looked at the Alchemist Code DB as well, because I was totally curious about this class. I mean, obviously we've never had it before. Mm-hmm. I had no idea what to expect. You mentioned that her move is, subpar. I mean, 3-1 is not that good, but she does have like an ability that can buff up her move for like 3 turns by 1. That's right. I mean, I don't know when you're really going to use that, like waste a turn to just move a little bit more, but that is an option. And she has some like interesting stuff. Like she has obviously like melee range stuff. She has like a jump, with a
Mm-hmm.
charge time that has like a really long cross shape AOE. Um, yeah, she had like a spin around kind of thing that hits guys around her. She even has a ranged attack. I don't know if she throws her axe or what, but I mean, it's a pretty interesting class. I'll
Mm-hmm.
definitely be curious to try it out. But I agree with you that J2 is just going to make it so much better. I mean, J2, I mean, martial artist basic stuff like combat or whatever it's called,
Mm-hmm.
with the charge up makes any job better. It makes any unit almost viable. So
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely recommend getting at least J2 if you are going to invest in her.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get J3, I think Pirate would be the way to go as the main job, and then stick with basic combat as the sub skill.
Mm-hmm.
And I also just noticed by looking at the pictures, and it's kind of creepy, but I don't know if you noticed, but her axe, like in the middle, has these two women faces looking at each other.
Yeah.
It's like really weird.
Yeah, that's I wonder what they were. Well, I mean, I never really played Fans of the Kill, so I don't know the history of the character, but yeah, it's kind of it's creepy because I mean, she's the cutesiest looking one out of the bunch, right? And then she has
Yeah.
that, so it's just kind of like, huh, it's a little interesting design there that they gave her.
Yeah, so I mean, she's not unusable from J1,
Hmm.
but I would definitely want J2 if I had her. Um,
Absolutely.
she's a little bit more reliant on that second job more than like Shekinah, for instance. So yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So moving on, we're gonna be now answering the question that everybody asks on every banner that's about to come out. Should I pull? So, there's a little bit of what we came up with. So, because these units are limited time, because they are a collab, and we don't know if Gumi would ever bring back collaboration units, if possible, at least go for the 500 gem multi-summon. I'm not sure if I would recommend it on each of them. It really depends on which unit you want the most. Like for example, if you want L, then do the 500 pull on L. Now for the gear, I definitely do recommend to go for all 3 steps for at least Tyrfing's weapon, because like Smooth mentioned earlier, it's very powerful even up to now in the JP version. So definitely try to pull at least, if you're going to go for 3 steps, do it for the gear summon for Tyrfing's weapon. And then obviously, if you can afford it and you want to go a little bit ham on these banners, you could go all the way up to step 3 on each of them. I think it's 45, it's about 4,500 gems for all 3 steps, because at least the 3rd step will guarantee you the collaboration unit on each of the 5-step summon banners. Now, it's not really recommended, I feel, to go all 5 steps unless you really like these units, unless you find these units like they're your waifu, or if your lineup, like let's say you just started the game and you're looking to build up your lineup and you feel like your lineup is lacking. That's when, if you can afford it, again, go all 5 steps. And for me, I feel like the best 5-step summon banner is the 3rd one, because it features all 3. And if should you happen to go all the way up to the 5th step, you have the 5-star selector ticket for these units. So let's say like you pull all 5 steps and you get, I don't know, 2 of the 3 units, and you wanted all 3, right? At least that ticket allows you to choose, the one that you didn't get, should you want all 3. And then, the way I see it is, due to the gradually increasing ways we can earn or be rewarded elemental shards, you can treat these units as a long-term project. So if you guys only happen to pull 1 copy, and again, they are limited, so if they never come back, the only way you can raise them up, the limit break them, is the elemental shards. But from what I'm noticing, they're starting to be a little bit more generous and giving us ways to actually earn those. So what are your thoughts about this, Smooth? Should you pull? How should you mix this up?
Yeah, well, I would generally recommend doing the 500 gem summon for any banner. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't even matter how bad the units are, in my opinion, because for 500 gems, I mean, you're just getting so many pulls for that price, and you're getting valuable dupes and things like that that you want to accumulate over time.
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely recommend the 500 gem on each banner. As far as going further than that, uh, you kind of have to weigh the cost of having something that's cool and useful now versus like really really long term, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think that at least 2 of these units offer pretty unique capabilities that aren't in the game. Like Shekinah, we already talked about how unique she is as a fire unit who's ranged and a holy brawler even. And then L, as much as I'm not like super excited about her, she is a very unique unit as well, as a only like powerhouse melee thunder unit.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sita has some cool stuff too. I mean, she's not as important, I think, but if you can get her up to J3 somehow, couple that with the basic combat, then you would have something special on your hands. I guess like a minor point I would mention for her, I kind of forgot to talk about it, is when I was like kind of nitpicking through the skills and seeing like how things would work, Pirate does have a fire and water res buff, which on somebody like Shenmei kind of was like a meh. Like, you know, Shenmei is already strong against fire as a water unit anyway.
Right.
But with Sita, you're actually buffing up against fire, which is her weakness, you know? So it's like a little bit cooler, I think. But I doubt many people are going to go all the way to J3 with her. So yeah, 500 gem summon for sure. And if you are going like a little bit more, like you said, I would definitely do it on the Turfing weapon banner. But, you know, beyond that, it's like, how strong do you want to be now versus like, you know, far down the line? That's pretty much what it comes down to, I think. They're fun units, though. I would love to get them all, but, you know, with limited resources and everything, and just got to be a little bit careful. Like you said, if these are your waifus and you happen to pull like one or two of them and you kind of want to invest a little deeper, there's always the option of like using elemental shards or rainbow shards. But yeah, I mean, you could treat it like a long-term project that way. But as far as like practical terms, like I wouldn't go all the way unless you're really, really invested in getting one of these units. They're good. Don't get me wrong. They're very strong. But yeah, it's going to be kind of hard to build them up appropriately since they are limited.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So definitely, guys, you know, take those recommendations, you know, into consideration before pulling on these. Again, they are very fun units. They're limited, so, you know, kind of weigh the pros and cons there. But again, if they're your waifu, if you really want them, you know, absolutely try to go as much as you can, you know, within, you know, your affordable means. All right, so the final question that I feel like is important to answer is, what if I can't afford to pull? You know, what if there's no hope for me to pull these units? Well, good news, this collab offers 2 farmable units, which is Tearfing and Masamune. They're still available to free-to-play, and for free units, they are quite good. Tearfing has J1 Holy Knight, J2 Soldier, which is kind of it's just in her job lineup, but then J3, she gets Holy Cavalier. So in a sense, she's like Chloe. You know, she's a free version of Chloe, and later on gets even better in JP when she gets her job plus. And then Masamune actually, to me, is pretty impressive. J1 Samurai, J2 Twin Blade Swordsman, and J3 Dark Cavalier. That's pretty much a free bolt. That's a fire element. I don't know. What do you think about that? I mean, isn't that pretty generous for free units, Smooth?
Yeah, like, you know, we all have our complaints about Gumi time to time, but as far as, you know, being free-to-play friendly, both of these units are every bit as good as the gacha ones, and, you know, like you mentioned, in the long run, Tearfing is actually top tier. Like, this is going to be my short time of mentioning tier lists, because I don't generally like to talk about it, but she's, like, literally top tier, SS tier in Japan right now with her job plus. Which is why her gear is pretty important, I think. And literally every other unit that we've talked about, including Masamune, who's a free unit, is like AA tier. So they're all good to great. And, you know, 2 of them are free. And honestly, Turfing and Masamune are just as waifu-ish, in my opinion, as the other ones. And Masamune is like really cool because she is pretty much a free bolt. You know, you can have like Twin Blade Swordsman, Dark Cavalier stuff, but she also has the option of being like extra DPS, or like have more attack with the Samurai single blade passive. So if you had like, you know, let's say you used her as a Twin Blade Swordsman, but then you had Overdrive and single blade as her passives, you're looking at like 900 plus attack on this character. So like, it's pretty insane for a free character. Kind of wish she wasn't a fire unit because we have so many strong fire DPS units already, but like, I'm still going to build her up and I'm still going to use her like crazy because she's really good.
Yeah, I know she definitely is. When I saw her job lineup, I was like, wait, a free unit that gains access to an elite job? And it looks like, I mean, I would even consider Twin Blade Swordsman to be another elite job because, you know, pretty good class itself with its skills, and then just, you know, the Samurai is just the icing on the cake there. Yeah, she's going to be a pretty good hard hitter. And again, like you said, you know, the only really disadvantage is she's competing with other good fire DPS units that are already out. But, you know, again, for free-to-play players who don't, you know, spend too much money on this game, definitely a great option, you know, for a fire DPS unit if you're looking to build a fire team, or if you just want a really super hard-hitting unit overall. And she's waifu material, like you said. Her design is pretty cool too, you know, so...
The one downside also that I've kind of seen elsewhere, like maybe on Reddit or something, I forget where, but people were kind of sad that it's going to be farmable on multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, as someone who loves multiplayer, I'm actually kind of excited about that. I don't
Mm-hmm.
mind it, but yeah, I mean, I can see how it'd be difficult for some people to get on multiplayer enough to like get her all the way to level 85. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, as much as you can do, I mean, she's definitely, again, it's a generous, you know, free to play gift, and you know, it's not like one of those situations where there's not much incentive to go online and play.
Mm-hmm.
This one's gonna be like, you know, pretty rewarding if you can do it. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'm very excited for, these two units especially. So, any closing thoughts, Smooth, before we end this video?
no, like I said in my other video, I wasn't initially that excited when I heard about Phantom the Kill, but
Mm-hmm.
once I saw the lineup of 5 units, I mean, even if you're not particularly attached to any one of them, I mean, the sheer quantity of them, like 5 of them, and 2 of them are free, and both of them are good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's hard to complain, I think. And you know, you can look ahead to the tier list and be like, oh, well, they're only A tier, you know, quote unquote only.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, right now in global, they're going to be plenty strong if you can build them up right, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
don't look ahead too much.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what job levels of force you can get, you know, they're going to be really strong. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of these running around, especially the free ones.
Yeah, absolutely. I myself, I'm looking to at least get Tierfing and Mazamune, as much as I can to J3. And guys, don't forget, I do host multiplayer a lot on Twitch, and Smooth tends to be there too. So, if you guys need help, oh, I need help farming Mazamune, but I can't get a good multiplayer game in because it's a bunch of people that just want a free carry. Well, my Twitch streams are there for that, to help you guys out too, to get those milestones on those multiplayers, and also to farm up, these upcoming units. It's going to be a lot of fun doing multiplayer, like, with Smooth and, with you guys. So don't forget that, guys.
Yeah, and hopefully it's not too hard either.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you know, people who actually need free units can actually farm it too. So that'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what, kind of data we'll have on the multiplayer. Again, hopefully it's not too hard. Even if it is, at least it's going to be fun, because there's going to be a lot of, trial and error that we can kind of experiment with and figure out, oh, don't move here, don't move there because you'll aggro this person, or make sure to have at least one of these classes. I feel like that's the fun part about strategy role-playing games is, there's always a way to figure out, how to conquer a stage, even though it might be quite challenging or quite hard, so.
Yeah, as long as it's fair.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, as long as it's not Saburetta Extra Plus.
Exactly, yeah.
So, all right, guys. Well, that is going to be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed that discussion that I had with my bro, SmoothJK. Thank you once again to SmoothJK. Thank you for joining me on this video, Smooth. You're a great guy, guys. Be sure to check out his YouTube channel. He's a very knowledgeable player as well on the Alchemist Code. Great insight, great analysis. So, anyways, guys, we will see you again for the next video. Take care, and mahal, everyone.
See ya.